Hi guys, Kate here with Tested, and today we're gonna do another Halloween from home video. So these are going to be some creepy specimen jars. I don't know about you, I have a thing for specimen jars. I just think they're so cool. And the best thing about this project is that it's really easy to do. You use materials that you can get at any craft store or you might already have at home. Especially jars like these, I feel like I've seen some really cool ones at thrift stores even. So keeping the budget low and the skill set easy. But let's try it out. I bought a bunch of random creepy things at a local craft store. So I have some mixtures of spiders here and some scorpions. I really like these baby heads, especially because they come super creepy. These are Halloween themed, so they've already got the dark eyes and the gray skin. And along the same lines, I've got some baby arms and legs as well. These were all relatively cheap and they require almost nothing beforehand. If you wanted to put in the extra time and effort, you could totally make your own creatures. You could sculpt something out of Sculpey, you could use thermoplastic to mold something, you could even take one of these and paint on top of it to really kick it up. However much time you want to put into it, you can make something cool. After we take our cool, creepy items, we are going to put them in the jars. We are going to suspend them in liquid. For this, we're going to use mostly water, a little bit of alcohol ink, but we might even have a glowing surprise at the end, so stay tuned for that. All right, before I fill anything up with liquid, I'm going to do a fun little tester. I'm going to take this jar and paint the outside with an antique finish Mod Podge. That's gonna make it look like it's a really old specimen jar that's been sitting on some crazy scientist's shelf forever. So if you've never used Mod Podge before, it is amazing. I personally have been using it for years, since I was a kid. At its core, it's really not too dissimilar from Elmer's glue, right? It's water-based, I believe non-toxic, it smells the same, and it's really easy to use. It's most commonly used for decoupaging or, putting down cutouts of things and applying this over the surface to really glue it down. It is super versatile. It comes in many different finishes. This is an antique matte finish, which is pretty cool because I feel like I've never had occasion to use this finish before, and it's on my bucket list to use every kind of Mod Podge. If you find that the Mod Podge is too thick or too opaque, you can always take a wet paper towel or get your brush a little wet and try and remove some of that you've put on. It's just like putting a wash on, add a little, take a little off. Find the sweet spot. It also helps break up some of the brush lines that you leave behind. Yeah, the Mod Podge is really helpful in giving that really old, dusty, used look. This isn't gonna look like a brand new jar that you found in a shop. This is gonna look like something that has been sitting around for a very long time, gathered up the dirt and the dust of the ages. But I think you'll be surprised at how much clarity you'll still have. You'll still be able to see the figures all right. All right, when you're ready, pick out your beasts. I think for this one, because it's the biggest, I'm gonna do the baby head in that one. I'm the most excited about the baby head. Save that. I think my Mod Podge one, I'm going to do, since it's the smallest one, I think I'll do scorpions. So you can have some fun here, deciding exact placement of items, varying orientation, how full you want it. Is it a full bushel of scorpions? Is it just a couple? You also want to make sure it reads. If it's too full or if they're angled in a weird way, you might not be able to tell what it is. Let's see what we can do here. I want to try and get some pushed up against the edge, and that'll help you identify what we're looking at. Might put a few more in there. You also want to take into account any floating that might happen when you add the water. So if you can wedge them in place, make sure that they won't move too much once you put a bunch of liquid in there. Kind of like that. And this one, let's do a baby arm. Now, whatever's at the top of the jar is going to be seen less because of this lid. So I'm going to put the fingers at the bottom and then the shoulder at the top. Then you won't see it as much. There you go. Nice creepy hand. Now we fill with water. Now, some of these jars are going to be better for water tightness than others. Obviously, when you have something with a rubber gasket seal around the edge, that's going to really help hold on to it, especially something like one of these, what is this called, a Grolsch top. That's going to be very effective. So potentially, these could be things that you save for multiple years. Now, something like this, where it's just a pressure fit top like that, obviously, you're not going to want to turn it upside down. You might get a little spillage, and there's a possibility of evaporation over time. So could be at the end of the season, you dump your liquid out, you refill it next time. That baby arm's trying to float out. Now, in order to make this look a little bit more creepy and aged, I'm going to try adding a few drops of yellow alcohol ink. I'll use my baby arm as a stir stick. See that nice, weird amber glow you've got going? Feels pretty weird. Really lay on that formaldehyde look. Don't worry if you get alcohol ink on yourself or on a hard surface. As the name implies, it is soluble in alcohol. So get an alcohol wipe, clean yourself up. Ooh, that looks pretty good. All right, I've added my head in here. I poured the water in. A little trick with this one, since there was a hole in this head, it wanted to float. So I turned the sink on real low and I let a tiny stream of water go in there, filled it with water. That helps it stay a little more sunk. It doesn't want to go all the way to the surface, so pro tip there. I'm gonna add some color to this one. I'm gonna add some water to our scorpions. Something I think that is worth noting about when you use the Mod Podge antiquing is because it does obscure a bit what's inside, it might be a good thing to use, say if you have an object that looks a little more cheap or something that you want to hide seam lines on, or if you just want it to even look more creepy and you only see maybe two eyes staring out at you. But it could be a good way to hide some things that you don't want to be fully visible. All right, now for the spiders, I want to try something a little special. Instead of just filling it with water, I'm going to try making it glow. So here's a little technique I looked up. Let's see how it goes. First, I'm going to put gloves on. I'm going to fill a cup with the water that I want to put in here. Now, I'm going to activate my glow stick. So something I didn't know before this is that when you snap the glow stick, it's that you're actually breaking a glass vial that's inside that lets loose all the goo. So that's something you want to be very careful of in these next steps. So I have a cup here. I'm going to try to very carefully contain it while I cut into it. Now these are super turbo scissors. You're probably going to need to use a matte knife or a heavy duty knife, make sure that you're in an area that you can clean up nicely, and try not to get this on your skin. Can you hear that? All right, I've cut this open. Now I'm going to attempt to clean off these scissors, these glowing scissors. All right, now I'm going to pour this liquid into my water. I'm gonna make sure not to let the actual pieces of the glow stick fall in there. All right, now I'm going to add some dish soap and some peroxide. And these things are supposed to help extend the life of the glow. So now I'm going to stir this up. Whoa. Now I'm going to add it to my spiders. See if I can do this without spilling. All right, here we have all of our different liquids. I wanted to get more of a different feel, a mix and match type thing, so I did a few different colors of alcohol ink in here. Obviously, we have the antiquing on the outside of this one. We've got our glow stick going in here, and this one is just the straight yellow alcohol ink. Everything looks a little different. Now, if you don't have time to do all of this, if you don't want to mess with the liquids, a really fast and easy option is something like this, which is just taking transparencies that I printed on my printer, cutting them out, shoving them in a jar. Now the last step is, obviously this guy is glowing all by itself, but what if you want to illuminate the other ones? I bought these. They're basically like little coasters, but they are LEDs. So you push the back, they have different glowing options. I want just straight on, and if you put one underneath here, voila, they glow. So this is the perfect recipe to make a very creepy bunch of specimen jars at home for Halloween. Thanks for joining me, and I hope you get spooky with it.